Order. Arms. Ready. Pace. Forward. March. Left. Left. Pace. Take seat.
You may be seated. Welcome for this important day for these new officers. I'd like to thank friends and family for being here in this celebration, and I'd like to thank RPD personnel who are here in support. Thank you also to the CAO for being here and the Mayor's Office representation, any city council members that are here, and all of our surrounding jurisdictions. Thank you. I see Chesterfield and the State Police. Thank you so much for your continued support. These officers here today endured 32 weeks of training. They were challenged and pushed to earn their badges while displaying grit, determination, and commitment. Then they expanded their skills and techniques in successful field training. The journey from recruit to officer is an epic one. And now let's hear what it was like as we welcome to the microphone the 131st Recruit Class President, Officer Jacob Hogg, to sum up the class and their training experience. Come on.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jacob Hogg, and as I was introduced, I'm the president of the 131st Basic Recruit class. And on behalf of my class, firstly, I would like to thank Chief Edwards and the Richmond Police Command staff for attending our graduation. Even simply just attending our graduation shows that there's a vested interest in us new officers. I would like to thank the Academy training staff and our instructors for their efforts and hard work in molding us to where we are now. The training we received prepared us well for field training and for the start of our new careers as police officers, so thank y'all. I would like to thank our families, friends, and loved ones for their support and encouragement over the last 9 months as we went through academy and field training. Your support and encouragement was instrumental for us to get to this monumental day. Finally, I thank my classmates for electing me to serve as their president. I believe leadership is a privilege and an honor, and I hope that I served them well. Throughout the last 9 months, I think we can all agree that we've had some good times and some not so good times, as I'm sure y'all will see in our class video that'll be coming up. We've gotten to do exciting things like learn how to drive Code 1, foot pursuits, handling difficult situations, and firearms training. And we've also had some not so pleasant experiences, like getting tased, getting OC'd, and the always fun PT sessions when we mess up or got an answer wrong in formation. We've argued with each other, we've been stressed, we've been put through many challenges. But the important thing is that we stuck together as a class and developed bonds that we won't get anywhere else. We have demonstrated in field training that we are ready to go to our assignments and be effective officers. Today is a day of celebration of our accomplishments and the beginning of an exciting and potentially rewarding career. Today is also a day of reflection on how we've got here and what we've endured to get here, both in our professional and personal lives. I want to encourage all of us to party hard today, responsibly, of course, but to also take time to appreciate what we've accomplished and who made it possible for us to be here. As a final charge to the class, we must continually seek to learn and better ourselves. The learning doesn't stop just now that we're out of academy. As some of our field training officers have told us, learning is career long. If we stop learning, we'll become lazy and unable to adapt to an ever-evolving profession and city. We must also look out for one another and our fellow officers. And as we go to our different assignments, we should make efforts to stay in contact with each other. Let's not lose these bonds that we've developed or let them fade away. Some of us may leave the department and go elsewhere. Some of us may leave law enforcement altogether. But we will always be the 131st Basic Recruit Class. And I pray that we will go forth and do great things for the city and the citizens that we serve. And I will continually pray that we will stay safe and look out for one another and embody our class motto, Go Nasties.
Thank you, Officer Hag. Right now, we'd like to invite CAO Odie Donald II to give his remarks to the class, and we thank him for being here today in support of our new class of officers for the great city of Richmond.
Well, good morning. I tell you, I don't remember the first one. Maybe it was around 2 or 3 months ago. I had an opportunity to attend. It wasn't even a graduation at that time. I think it was just the first celebration of officers that I was able to attend. And since then, I've had an opportunity to help stand with Chief as he delivered the long-awaited first precinct that I know folks were excited about. I think the recruit class for fire and a lot of these things. I remember telling both Chief Edwards as well as Chief Siegel, I just won't miss them. I know most of the city, I'm just coming back late last night, and many folks are at the inner city visit where we're learning from different people, different communities on how to make, ours better. I believe in the case method. You copy and steal everything, legally. Everything that can make your community better, you have to do it and you have to utilize it. But for personal reasons and professional reasons, I won't miss one of these. And I think the reason I have that commitment and why it's so important is what our newly soon-to-be sworn-in officer kind of highlighted in his brief remarks. Fellowship, responsibility, and balance. He was only here for about 3 minutes, but those 3 things stand out to me because, whether you know it or not, they need all of those. Today we're here celebrating 9 folks who made a 32-week commitment. I'm not sure I've done anything for 32 weeks, but they made a 32-week commitment to serve their community. That's no small thing because that 32 weeks will likely carry them 30 years. We're here with the 131st class. I know our chief told me he was in the 89th class. So 100 years ago, he made that commitment to his community. And that's important because during that time, that commitment that he made, his family has made, his church has made, everybody, that fellowship, we're all signing up. All of you in the crowd are signing up to that same commitment. And just like there was a chief in the 89th class, there's likely one in the 131st. And along the way, I enjoy hearing them say there've been a little bit of ups, a little bit of downs, which is the norm. That's what they're going to endure. But they can't do that without that fellowship. While he talked about that fellowship amongst those 9, the true support that they need is from all of us here applauding them in the crowd. And their bad day, is not like our bad day. When they have a bad day, it's because they feel like they let their community down, because somebody needed their help maybe 1 minute earlier, or it's just a hard situation where you see something that you wouldn't even dare tell anybody else about. Today, in our political, bureaucratic environment, we are tussling over the many things that they need to keep us safe. Been hearing all the conversations around things that range from flock, camera usage, to officer engagement with the community. So many different things, but they all revolve around that trust, that partnership, and that fellowship. I was encouraged in those 3 minutes that it didn't take long, probably didn't take him 32 weeks to figure out the importance of those things. Because we're less concerned about surveillance or interaction in our community or how folks do the job of protecting us if those core values that he highlighted are intact. And so for me, I get to give you a charge, which is why I wouldn't miss today. You know, when you have a child or new things, there's a level of innocence. And their experience and interactions with the world around them help to either keep and preserve that innocence or it can destroy it. And so today, the two things that they need most revolve around that support when that bad day comes and there's nobody else to lean on. Well, all of y'all signed up. But even more so, that listening ear and that trust and the assistance in preserving the values that he mentioned isn't something that falls solely on them. Part of it is on us. And so my charge to you is to celebrate them today for what he called a responsible celebration. But when the applause stops and the days get hard, I think your charge, the same as mine, as well as Chief's, is to still be right there when nobody else is clapping. So I hope you'll take on the charge. Trust me, I will. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much, CEO. All right, you've heard a little bit about what the Academy consisted of. Now let's take a look at what's become a tradition at RPD graduations. A video documenting the recruits' experience that provides a small sampling of what they did to get here today. This video was produced by our very own RPD Public Affairs unit.
You move.
Welcome aboard. I can also say it was a time. That was our very first shock into coming into Academy.
Hurry up! Don't fix your clothes either.
Yeah, that was a doozy for day one.
I think the Academy was very beneficial. Obviously, I've never been law enforcement, but I think it definitely prepares you on the legal side of things.
Look, you got any cars? Who are you waving at? Relax your arms. Perfect.
Close the door. Using both hands, lift your top.
Patrol tactics really gave me a sense of what it was going to be like in the city of Richmond. From domestic violence calls that we took.
Y'all don't need to talk to her. I just want her to leave. That's all y'all need. I just need you to take her out of here. That's all I need.
All the way to even noise complaints. So the patrol tactics has really been highly anticipated course that me and my fellow classmates were ready to take on.
Patrol tactics was very accurate. There
There's a lot of situations that felt crazy, like doing them in the academy, but then when you get out there, you realize it can be pretty crazy out there too.
He's gonna shoot me. I don't like him. I don't like him. Let me talk to you again. No. No, he can't talk to me.
I can't see you, Tyler. Can you please step over here?
411 Robin, can I get 1027, 29?
When I was out on the field, there was like a scenario that came close to me at the academy, and I was like, oh wait, I know exactly what to do in this situation.
And you're maintaining the control part of it? Yeah.
Overall training at RPD is amazing. I don't feel like I could get that anywhere else around here, honestly.
I'm going to give you a verbal warning myself this time. Okay. If you do come back, we're going to have to give you a citation. You've been cool with me, so I'm going to be cool with you.
From day one, it's hard a little, you know. You have to be prepared for it. But they definitely prepare you mentally and physically for going out on the street.
They don't need anybody else. They just come out first station's going to handle this, correct?
Simple, correct. So basically what just happened was we was heading to a mayday on 1300 Coldrick Road. So yeah, it was just like right at the roll call. So, you know, being an officer in the city of Richmond, you had to be able to expect things like this just on the go. Just like I mentioned earlier with football. The first play might be chill, but then the next play, you got to give it all you got.
Since it doesn't have a back tag, you can check the front tag. But as I noticed as we were driving, it doesn't have a front tag either. I think the patrol tags was very good. It kind of helped me understand, especially like the radio. When I first started like field training, I was like, I didn't know what they were saying, but in the academy, they kind of emphasize just working. It helps me like understand.
White shirt, fatigue shorts, and 5'7". For 13 hours, for 13 for one responsible much the best. I will for the copies of 98 hours.
Just here, just to walk around, just to be a presence, just to let people know that we are out here, you know, just making sure people feel safe.
Experience was great. With all the cadres at the academy, all the instructors, they really prepare you.
Step out! Move to your left! Keep walking back! Keep going!
If you're looking to become a police officer, I would definitely encourage you to join RPD. The training is amazing. It's top tier. And once you get out in the field, it's definitely a good experience.
111 and 2, 211 Charles 1, 111 and 2, 211 Charles.
Responsible much the best. I will for the copies of 98 hours.
Thank you. Right, and now to assist me in presenting awards to the class, the Training Academy cadre, we have Officer Butler, McTurnan, and Hall, and Sergeant Milton. All right, so we have a series of awards. First, what we will do is the Physical Fitness Award. The Physical Fitness Award is presented to the recruit who had the highest average on all of the physical fitness tests given through recruit training. The recipient of the Physical Fitness Award is Officer Joe Isaac. You can say up there, Chief. All right. The next award is the Emergency Vehicle Operations Award, otherwise known as the EVOC Award. It is presented to the recruit who displayed outstanding judgment and control while operating a police vehicle. The recruits were tested on a variety of driving courses to include quick reaction courses, skid control, emergency response, and day and night pursuit driving. The 131st top driver is Officer Jacob Hogg. All right, the next award is the Jerry Kiefer Firearms Award. This award is given to the recruit who obtained the highest average score on all of the department and DCJS firearms qualification courses. This officer demonstrated a high level of proficiency and safety with the department-issued handgun and shotgun, and the recipient of the Firearms Award is Officer Jacob Hogg. Moving along to the Captain Vernon F. Mike Hall Award. This award is named in memory of Captain Hall for his contributions to police training. This award is given to the recruit that maintained the highest academic average throughout recruit training. The recipient of the Captain Vernon Mike Hall Award is Officer Jacob Hogg. Thank you. The next award is the Nancy White Thomas Award. This award is in honor of Mrs. Nancy White Thomas for her inspiration and contributions to recruit training for over 42 years. Miss Thomas passed away in 2007. However, she remains a very special friend to the Richmond police family and has been an inspiration to every basic recruit class since 1966. This award recognizes the recruit who has demonstrated the most outstanding overall performance throughout recruit training. The recipient of the Nancy White Thomas Award is, take a guess, Officer Jacob Hogg. Someone's going to have to help him with these awards on the way out. The J.D. Ross Servant Leadership Award. Servant leadership is defined as a philosophy and set of practices that enrich the lives of individuals, builds better organizations, and ultimately create a more just and caring world. This award is named in honor of retired RPD Sergeant James Ross, otherwise known as J.D. J.D. cannot be here today, but he usually tries to attend every one of our graduations to help us in the presentation. It is awarded to the recruit in each graduating class that best exemplifies the core traits of a true servant leader. J.D. exemplified the philosophy of servant leadership every day in that his actions were always focused on the betterment of his personnel and this organization. Some of the core traits possessed by any good leader are accountability, selflessness, humility, dependability, and respect for others. Today's recipient has consistently demonstrated these core traits over the past 32 weeks, as witnessed by the members of the 131st Basic Recruit Class. Therefore, it is my honor and privilege to present the J.D. Ross Servant Leadership Award to Officer Jacob Hogg. Thank you. I promise we're not bringing him up again. Good job, Hogg. Good job. All right. Thank you, Chief, very much. Thank you, Cadre. All right. Well, the officers were officially sworn in on March 6th here at the Academy during a private ceremony, recognizing that graduation was not the end of their training, but rather the beginning of their service. After taking the oath, each officer entered the next phase of development by completing 8 weeks of demanding field training. This stage provides recruits with their first true exposure to the realities of police work, allowing them to apply the knowledge and skills gained throughout the 32-week academy in real-world situations. Field training program consists of 2 separate 4-week phases under the supervision and mentorship of experienced field training officers. During this time, trainees may work in different precincts, on varying shifts, and alongside multiple trainers, requiring them to adapt quickly while learning to navigate the challenges and unpredictability that come with the profession. I think like the first 3 weeks, you just have a straight headache, so they survived, they did well. The early stages of field training are often the most demanding. New officers quickly experience long hours and mental strain and fast-paced nature of the profession, gaining a true understanding of why the Academy staff held them to such high standards throughout their training. During this phase, officers are exposed to a wide range of calls for service, from violent crimes to serious traffic incidents to community engagement events and everyday requests for assistance. Each shift presents new challenges and learning opportunities that continue to build their confidence. Decision-making, their abilities, and dedication to serving the community with professionalism and integrity. Only after completing this demanding process are they officially certified as police officers for the City of Richmond within the Commonwealth of Virginia. And now, with great pride, we move to one of the most meaningful moments in an officer's career, the presentation of badges. The badge is more than just a piece of metal. It is a symbol of trust, honor, and responsibility. It is not given, it is earned. And today, these officers have earned theirs. Behind every officer standing here is someone who believed in them, a parent, a partner, sibling, friend, or steadfast supporter. Your encouragement and sacrifice have helped make this day possible. As a tribute to that support, each officer will now be joined by a loved one to take part in the proud tradition of pinning their badge. The officers will now be presented in alphabetical order, so if those loving and supportive family and friends wish to snap a photo of the officer with our chief, come on down to the front of the stage when the officer is called. This is a celebration of the accomplishment of these new officers, so we'll also be photographing this moment and can share the photos with you. Following the ceremony, feel free to use a backdrop that we have out in the hallway as well. And don't forget, we have some cake out there too. So, at this point, Chief, if you don't mind, and CAO, if you would like to join him up there, thank you very much. Family members again. Oh, okay, all right, that'll work. Perfect. All right, so first officer, and again, family members, please feel welcome to come up and take pictures, and you'll be doing the pinning. Officer Jackson Alexander. Officer Kimani Braxton. Okay. Officer Scarla Cabrera Molina. Officer Jacob Hogg. Officer Joe Isaac. Officer Enoch Arona. Officer Jaquan Pinson. Officer Elijah Rivers. Officer Stephen Tapia. Congratulations to the officers of the 131st. So today is the day, guys. Move forward. Remember what you have learned and continue to remember what and who you represent. I would like now to invite Chief Rick Edwards to give his charge to the class.
You can applaud for me, that's okay. If I gotta ask for it, it doesn't count. All right. So good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Richmond Police Department's Training Academy for this celebration. So we're very proud of our graduates today. And I'd like to start by acknowledging some folks. So first, I'd like Captain Flippo and members of the cadre here at the Academy to raise your hands or stand up, please. So give them a round of applause. All right, there's an old saying that those who can do and those that can't teach. That's not what our motto is here at RPD. We put some of our best people in this role, in this very crucial role to guide and mold our most precious resource we have, and that's our newest officers. So thank you for the work you do. It often goes unnoticed, but you are building the legacy of the Richmond Police Department every time we put out another great recruit class, so thank you. I'd also like to thank our strategic comms team. So there was mentioned a little bit, but these things, these events, those videos, this presentation today doesn't just happen. So Mr. Mercante, James Mercante, Fawn Husan, and Chelsea Taylor, please raise your hands and be acknowledged today for the great work you did. Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. And certainly I have to thank CAO Donald. He kind of mentioned it a little bit, but he did fly back from Phoenix late last night. It was important for him to be here, and it's truly appreciated. And I also appreciate he didn't talk trash about me today. Every other time we're in front of the media or in front of classes, he's telling me how much of a better basketball player he was than me. It's not true, so we may find that out soon enough, right? Right, Mr. CAO? All right. And, you know, certainly for my senior command staff. So if you could stand up, please, and be acknowledged. So these are individuals that are on my team. And I like to think I'm a good boss, but sometimes I forget to acknowledge them. So please take this appreciation, because I know how hard you work. And to our current, I also see members of the Richmond Coalition of Police. Could you raise your hand? Well, they were here earlier. Where'd they go? All right, well, I'll acknowledge them even if they're not here. They were here supporting the officers today. And just another acknowledgement of the things we have to offer in Richmond. So we have a police union that stands for the men and women of the Richmond Police Department. And we are always excited to partner with them to make our department better. And finally, the friends and family of our police officers. If you can stand, if you're able, please be acknowledged. Friends and family, come on, folks. All right, thank you so much. And as the CAO mentioned, we can't do our job. Wow, we can't do our job without the support we get at home. This job is difficult, and there will be difficult days ahead, and your loved ones will need you. And I'm going to ask you to do that as they continue their career in this noble profession. So today we're here to celebrate these 9 young men and women in the 131st. And as the CEO also mentioned, there's a few academy classes between them and myself. And when I was in this room 27 years ago, I had a full head of hair, so I don't know, you got that to look forward to. But Officer Hogg was kind of talking about this, and I just want to reiterate it, but this job requires you, even though you're graduating today, to never stop learning. You can't do that in this profession, and God knows not in this city, because nobody can ever master this work. It's too complicated. It's too complicated. There's always something new to learn. And you're going to walk out there, you look so great in your uniforms today, you got your badge on, your bulletproof vest, your gun, that uniform. And people after that can sometimes feel invincible. So I'm going to ask you to do something for me, and that's to remain humble. Because if you don't, this job, this city will humble you. So ask questions of your fellow officers early and often, especially early. And if you do that humbly and respectfully, the men and women of this department will bend over backwards to help you succeed. So don't be a know-it-all. Don't view yourself that way. Be a learn-it-all. Because if you're successful in this job, and there's success at every level, not just the men and women who have rank in this department, but there's success for all the officers of the Richmond Police Department. Because if you are successful, it will be through inquiry, through effort, through training, and through mentorship. So seek those out. You will because as I mentioned, this job never gets easier. What ends up happening if you're successful with this work is you turn yourself into the type of officer that just handles very difficult things well. And it starts with humility. So I joined the department in 1999, And for many years, I was an officer, later a detective, and I only had to worry about myself. And it wasn't until 2012 that I took my leadership, first step in leadership of the RPD, and that's when I became a sergeant. And I realized I no longer had to worry about just myself, I had to worry about other people. And I wanted to give some advice to the officers underneath me. And the advice that I thought of and that I give to this day is to think of this job and remember that there's something called the golden rule, and it applies to policing as well. So if you treat everyone you encounter, this is what I'm going to ask you to do, treat everyone you encounter the way you'd like your mother to be treated in a similar situation. And that's not as easy as it sounds. I don't see any of my friends here from the fire department, but the fire department, I'm not going to make fun of them, don't worry about it. But the fire department just helps people. Your house catches on fire, they put it out. Your car is overheating, they come and help you with that. You're having a medical emergency, they show up. They put batteries in your smoke detectors. They take kittens out of trees. I don't know what else they do, but that's kind of what they do. And we do all that too at RPD. Like, we do that too. We have those moments with members of our community, but we also have another role. And the role that we have, if we don't do it, society and the way we all get to live breaks down. We got to arrest people. Nobody wants to be arrested. We've got to issue tickets to people. Trust me, nobody wants to get tickets. And sometimes we even have to use force. But you can still do your job, you can still be a professional and compassionate. And if you follow that golden rule, you won't go wrong in this police department. And the other piece of advice I want to share with you today is about your reputation. I want you to guard it. I want you to protect it. And I want you to think of 3 separate groups to care about when it comes to your reputation. The first one is your reputation with your peers, your direct supervisors, and yes, even the command staff. Do you call in sick when you're not really sick? Do you take shortcuts on your calls? You fail to back up people when they're asking for help on the radio? Are you the type of officer that shows up and is the calm in the storm? Or when you show up, does it get worse? All of these things are calculated, tabulated, and memorized, and it builds towards your reputation. And I can remember people in 2000, 2001 that I worked with, and I still remember what kind of officer they were. I also want you to care about your reputation with our prosecutors and the judges. Do you come to court prepared, ready, squared away to testify? And when you testify under oath, are you 100% honest? And I want to be very clear about this. Are you testifying 100% honestly, even if it means a guilty person goes free? Because that's the job. Nobody expects you to be perfect. They don't expect perfection from us. This is, as I mentioned, this is a complicated business we're in. Even the Supreme Court disagrees about the law sometimes. These are the smartest jurists in our country, and they disagree. So we don't expect you to be perfect, but I expect you to be 100% honest. And finally, and in many ways, most importantly, I want you to care about your reputation with our community. So I've been in this city for a long time. And not a day goes by when I'm walking around now that someone doesn't acknowledge me, doesn't remember me from some incident I had in Southside when I was running the street, or when I was working murder cases as a detective, or when I was in a tactical unit with ATF. Somebody in this city remembers you, and they will remember how you treated them, even if you have to arrest them, even if you had to take someone's liberty away. If you're professional, if you're honest, if you don't stack up the charges when you don't need to, if you don't exaggerate the probable cause, if you let the chips fall where they may and let the courts figure the rest of it out, you'll be respected, even if you have to do your job, as a person who is fair. And what I can say to you is, and this is other advice that I give, and it's the truest thing I've ever come up with, and that is, you are auditioning for your next job every day you come to work in this agency. You just don't know it. You just don't know it. Because people notice what you do. People notice if you're the type of person that can understand the truth of the matter, that there's no difference between a problem and an opportunity. At all levels of this agency, and I dare say every agency, every organization, there are people who look at a problem and run from it, And there are people who look at a problem and see it for what it is, which is an opportunity to prove your worth. And if you do that again and again and again, you will have an incredible career here. And I would encourage you to think like that. Nothing is forgotten, nothing is wasted, everything leads towards your reputation, which is the only thing you truly have. Now let's talk about this. So myself and my command staff obsess about crime data. We obsess about it. We look at the data on a weekly basis, on a weekend basis, on a daily basis. We have a meeting with the captains every week where we talk about their precincts months. We meet with our federal and state and local partners once a month to talk about crime. We're trying to find out where it's going to be next, how we can intervene, how we can disrupt it, how we can continue to drive crime down. And we hear those stories. Some of the stories I'm getting ready to tell about you directly, but we hear the stories of the Richmond Police Department. Something I do every morning before I even get out of bed, if I'm not woken up, I look at my phone and I read the noteworthy report. The noteworthy report shows the incidents from the previous night. And I look at it. When I get to the office, if it's bad enough or if it's significant enough, my practice is to go look at the body cameras and see what happened. Because it's one thing to read a report, it's another thing to see it from your point of view. And I can tell you, we watch those body-worn cameras as a team and we look at it to see how you are performing, and all of our officers are performing. And some of the stories that I'm getting ready to tell about all of you, I've seen them before today because you were in the mix of some incredible work. So today I'm gonna acknowledge some of the stories, and there are plenty more I could go into. For Officer Jackson Alexander, so on March 21st, you and your field training officer were in the 4900 block of Chamberlain Avenue, and you got a call from a citizen saying someone was out there selling fentanyl. Now everyone knows what fentanyl is. It's the most deadly drug in America. It's killed hundreds of thousands of our citizens. And someone in our community took the time to pass that information along. And instead of just ignoring it or blowing it off or not doing what that citizen asked you to do, you went and confronted a person. He runs from you. And he runs through a parking lot, he ends up in a dumpster somewhere, and you can't find him, and then get him out of the dumpster and make the arrest. He had a bunch of warrants on file from surrounding jurisdictions for drugs and gun possessions. And why I say that, and why that's so important, is because when someone in our community takes the time to tell us about something, oftentimes they're watching to see what we do. And in this case, if they were watching, they saw a police department that took their concerns seriously. So good job on that. Officer Kaimani Braxton. So we also get tips from your field training officers and from some of your reports you wrote, and your field training officer talked about your professional way you arrested an individual involved in domestic violence on Williamsburg Road. The complicated nature of that, getting to the truth, documenting it properly, preparing a case for court. And domestic violence is one of the crimes that's on the rise in our city, so we take it very seriously. And you were acknowledged for doing that on April 5th. And then on April 27th, that's when I saw you as one of the times we're reviewing body camera. There was a significant incident in the 1300 block of Coulter Street that went viral on social media, where we had parents involved in a fight that were fighting because their kids were fighting, and they showed up in the 1300 block of Coulter Street. And during the course of that physical fight, one of the parents shot the other parent. Thankfully, she's going to be okay. But Officer Braxton responded with her field training team on that. I watched her video. She's putting up crime scene tape. She's creating the crime scene roster. She's talking to witnesses, doing that in a very professional manner. And as you can imagine, that was an incredibly chaotic scene. And you were commended for that. So thank you. Now, Officer Scarla Cabrera Molina. On 4/14, you were involved in a trespassing and aggravated assault call in Southwood with your field training officer. The suspect in this case took off running, and you and your field training officer and other officers captured that person. And I know this case because it was a use of force. So anytime the Richmond Police Department arrests a person and we do anything other than normal handcuffing tactics, we do a use of force report. That is something that I wanted to watch with my team, and we watched it, and I was struck by the way that you, and actually Officer Isaac was involved in that too, were able to take this suspect into custody using department-approved and trained tactics. And this guy was not very friendly. He was cursing him out, yelling at him. But once it was over and he was finally put in handcuffs, they put him on his side in the recovery position like we trained so he can breathe. We got him up, dusted him off, and he gets to face court. And the officers, including both the recruits here today, were completely professional in the face of real disrespect. So great job with that. Officer Joe Isaac, as I mentioned, he was involved in that incident, but he had some others too. So another tragedy in our city, on 322, we had an individual shot and killed in the 1000 block of Decatur Street. And Officer Isaac and his field training officer were one of the first teams on the scene. He found the individual who was lying there and unfortunately passed away. Now that's, again, a chaotic situation. He handled it professionally, put the crime scene tape up, understood that our community was hurting with what they had to see. He wasn't disrespectful. He calmly and professionally asked them to step back so the investigators and the medical professionals could do their work. And he also, because of that, I believe, on the video, a witness comes up to him and on his body camera says who did it. Now, the CEO talked about our technology investment in Richmond, and I talk about it a lot. I'm a big believer in it. Just look at the news, I'm being raked over the coals on some of it. And while it's important, it's incredibly important for LPR, for cameras, for our real-time crime center, that's making us more efficient. There is nothing more important than people in our city who trust their police department enough to tell us what happened. And that starts with respect, and that's what happened in this case. So great job, Officer Isaac. So Officer Jacob Hogg, I don't even want to say anything about you. You got so many awards today. We got to keep it moving, but I will say this. So you were acknowledged by your field training officer. We focus a lot on the community businesses. There can be a source of crime, particularly some of the vape shops, and so we keep an eye on them. Most of the clerks are good folks who are just trying to do their business, and they often become victims of crime, so it's important for us to build those relationships. So he went with his field training officer into one of those stores and saw someone in the community that he recognized. And he thought he had a warrant. So before approaching that individual, they go back on the computer, run the name, and sure enough, he did have a warrant. They get in a little foot pursuit. I guess they're pretty fast and caught him. But part of that, is happening so fast for you. It's 8 weeks and you're already aware of the people that are on your beat. That's what community policing is too, knowing the business owners, knowing who's there. And you don't just tackle a guy you think has a warrant, you confirm it first. Because when we make those kind of mistakes, we lose trust with our community. So great job, knowing your sector, knowing the people, and handling business. And Officer Enoch Orana. I can say this too, one of the things that you did during your short 8 weeks of field training is make 3 DUI arrests. And that's so important because traffic fatalities in our city are on the rise. It's an important hot button topic for us, and certainly when DUIs are involved, we want to take that. And I'm ashamed to say I was never a DUI person. You have beat me. I made 2 DUI arrests in my career. In field training, you already beat me on that. So thank you for what you do. And we never know what you do. When you make an arrest involving a DUI, you never know who you're saving, maybe even the person you arrest. And Officer Jaquan Pinson. So on 4/18, Officer Pinson and his field training officer went to Motel 6, 100 Greshamwood Place for a report of a person dealing drugs. Now, Councilmember Jones is the 9th District council person, and she is very concerned about the hotels on Midlothian Turnpike. We get a lot of complaints about all kinds of prostitution and drug activity there, so it is a focal point for us. And when we get that call, again, from members of our community saying someone out here is dealing drugs, it's important for us to take those seriously. And Officer Pinson and his field training officer did that. So he was able to conduct an investigation. The vehicle was occupied. He was able to find firearm, crack cocaine, and fentanyl. The driver was charged with possession of a firearm while in possession of Schedule 1 or 2 narcotics, possession of a concealed weapon, obstruction of justice, and trespassing. So great work on that. Officer Elijah Rivers. Now, I knew Officer Rivers before he joined the RPD in the sense I would see him as part of the Sentry Force who provide security to our RRHA public housing communities. And I was always impressed with him when I would show up at a crime scene. He was always squared away. He knew people in the community. I think that's where we probably slid him a business card and said, come work for the RPD. And he did. And two incidents that his field training officer wanted me to be aware of. And the first was on March 22nd. We were getting complaints on a vacant house on Decatur Street for squatters and people breaking in this house. This is a problem that we're starting to see. And when the homeowner saw that, they called us and we conducted an investigation. Officer Rivers and his field training officer went to this vacant house. The person ran, they got in a quick foot pursuit, and he was able to arrest an individual with 11 active warrants on file. And again, that person who called us most likely was watching to see what we did. And on April 15th, even a better incident, he was called to the 2100 block of Riverside Drive for a domestic call. An uncle said that his nephew pointed a gun at him. So as they're clearing the apartment, they find this nephew hiding in the closet. Right beside him was a loaded .40 caliber firearm. And that individual was a previously convicted felon with warrants from Chesterfield County and other locations, and was prohibited from possessing a firearm. So we never know what we stop when we take these illegal guns off the street, but whatever was gonna happen during that domestic incident didn't happen because of Officer Rivers and his field training officer. And finally, Officer Stephen Tapia. So on March 18th, he was commended through a very thorough investigation involving a detailed robbery that occurred in the 1800 block of Westmoreland Street. On the 19th, he attended a career day at Lewis Harrison Jones Elementary School on Maplewood Avenue. His field training officer remarked that he was a natural with the kids. In those relationships, he showed him his police car, let him play with his flashlight, talked to them about public safety. And those interactions at early ages form how our community views us. There's nothing more important than being viewed as legitimate in our community. We can't do our job if we're not. We'll be fighting everybody, everywhere, if we're viewed as illegitimate. So those interactions are so important to a successful career. Also, Officer Tapia is bilingual and was able to help many members of our community who didn't speak English and help them guide through the process, victims and witnesses who maybe had some concerns about talking to the police department, but felt better when he was able to translate for them. So every part of our city feels like they can call the Richmond Police Department to get help. So those are some incredible stories. And as chief, I get to go to a lot of graduations for police agencies. We have some of our friends from Chesterfield and Virginia State Police and other agencies here, and I always am impressed by those graduations, but I will say I never see anyone talk about the kind of things that I was talking about. And it's not that we're better or worse, we're just different. The experience you have already got, and certainly the experience you will get at RPD, is unmatched in the Commonwealth. Your ability to make an impact is unparalleled, and you're seeing that already. And since becoming chief, I'm 6'8", so I stand out. People acknowledge, look at me when I walk into a room, but like everywhere I'm going now, people recognize me and they come up to me. And everyone says this to me, some variation of this. They walk up to me and they say, Chief, the officers are doing a great job. I appreciate all the work you're doing. It's almost always positive. I'm not as famous as the CAO, but I'm getting there maybe one day. But they always say, you've got one hell of a job, Chief. I don't envy you. They say that to me. It's some variation of that every time. And I always smile and I say I have the best job in the world because I get to lead incredible men and women in my own department that I started at 27 years ago. And I always hear it's a tough time to be the police now. And certainly, God knows, we had our time in 2020 and we're still feeling the effects of that. But even though it's not easy, nothing in life worth doing is easy. To me, it's the best time for young men and women of character and courage to take up this job. To enter this profession, you are needed more now than ever, and you will have the sacred honor of leading this profession of policing into the future. And in many ways, I'm jealous of you. Because in this room 27 years ago, I got my badge, and I joined this department. And Richmond was a different city back then. It was a very different city. It was much more dangerous and deadly than it is right now. And men and women who have worn this uniform over the decades have made this city better for our community. And you're going to be part of that next generation of that incredible RPD legacy. Henry David Thoreau wrote a book called Walden that I read in college. And it talks about existentialism, it talks about finding peace. But the one quote in it that I've always remembered that has always stuck with me was where he said that most men lead lives of quiet desperation. And that's a frightening quote to me. Because I've had good days and bad days at this job, but I have never regretted my decision to join the RPD. I would do it all over again, and I pity the people that show up to a job they hate every day just because they have to put food on the table and pay their bills. That's the reality for most people in this world. They don't have careers, they have jobs. And finally, I just want to talk about happiness, because I hear people talk about happiness all the time. I'll submit that happiness to me is a sensation. It's fleeting. You can be happy with opening a cold beer. You can be happy eating a cheeseburger. You can be happy watching Netflix. It's a sensation. So I wouldn't recommend chasing happiness. That's what everyone talks about. Far better to seek purpose. And there is no better job and no better city than to find purpose than this one. So welcome to the adventure of a lifetime. Congratulations, and God bless you all. Thank you.
And now for the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics.
All right, Judge. As
a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life. I will be exemplary in obeying the law of the land and regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudice, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions with no compromise for crime or the relentless prosecution of criminals. I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as a public trust, to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement.
I would just like to take a quick moment to reiterate what the chief had said, to thank our cadre here at the Training Academy. Guys, pop out of that little corner there, please. Yep, you're not going to get away with that. So this is not a Monday through Friday job. As many hours as your recruits, now officers, put in, our cadre put in double that with preparation, with just planning, with getting things scheduled with their own time and money into making obstacle courses and to just doing everything for the success of these guys. So they dedicated long weekends, long hours to mold these recruits into great officers. And thank you to our major and to our deputy chief and the chief for your support to allow us to do that and to trust us with training these new officers. We would not have the amazing officers if it weren't for the cadre here and our support staff. So thank you all very much. Please give them a hand. So as I said before, this is a celebration. We have a photo booth out in the hallway. There's cake and some water, and upstairs on the second floor is our police museum. I encourage all family members and friends to go check out the history of our police department that we have open for you today. And with that, I turn it over to you, Cadre.
Right. Left, right. 131. All out.
Thank you.